I never thought this would happen to me. My girlfriend, Sarah, and I had been together for 3 years. We built a life, shared dreams, and I truly believed she was the one. But over the past few months, something felt off. She was distant, always on her phone, and started working late almost every night. She'd come home with expensive gifts for herself, things I knew she couldn't afford on her salary as a junior assistant. When Primera asked, she'd just wave it off, saying her boss, Mark, was really generous and gave her big bonuses for her hard work. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But the doubt was a little seed that had been planted in my mind, and it was starting to grow. Mark was a big shot at his company, married with 2 kids. A real family man, or so everyone thought. Sarah used to complain about him, how demanding and arrogant he was. Now, all I heard was praise. It didn't add up. One evening, my suspicion got the better of me. Sarah said she was working late on a huge project. I had this gut-wrenching feeling, so I drove to her office. The parking lot was almost empty, except for 1 car. Mark's flashy black sedan. Her car was parked right next to it. My heart sank. I waited, my mind racing through a million terrible scenarios. An heure later, they walked out together, laughing. He put his arm around her, and she leaned into him. It wasn't a friendly goodbye. He kissed her, a long, deep kiss, right there in the empty parking lot. My world shattered in that instant. I drove home in a daze, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. The betrayal felt like a physical blow. When Sarah got home, she was glowing, talking about the successful presentation she'd nailed. The lie was so effortless. It made me sick. I couldn't confront her. Not yet. I needed proof. Something undeniable. I felt like a different person, fueled by a cold, hard anger I'd never known before. The next day, I started digging. I knew her phone password. We'd always been open like that, or so I thought. While she was in the shower, Primera unlocked Italiano. My hands trembled as I opened her messages. And there it was, a whole other life I knew nothing about. Messages from Mark, filled with explicit plans, pet names, and talk about money. He wasn't just giving her bonuses. He was paying for her time, for their secret meetings. She was trading her affection for cash and designer bags. The texts were bad enough. But then I found the pictures. Dozens of them. Selfies they'd taken in hotel rooms, restaurants, even his car. Pictures of them kissing, wrapped around each other. Each photo was another knife in my heart. She was smiling in all of them. A happy, carefree smile I hadn't seen in months. I saved everything to a secure folder on my computer. I knew what I had to do. Confronting her would just lead to more lies. She'd try to manipulate me, gaslight me, make me feel like I was the crazy one. Now, this required a different approach. I spent the next week acting like nothing was wrong. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I smiled. I kissed her good morning. I listened to her fake stories about work. Inside, I was just counting down the days. My plan was simple, but I knew it would be devastatingly effective. I wasn't just going to expose her. I was going to expose him. He was the one with everything to lose. His reputation, his family, his career. I did some research online. It was surprisingly easy to find Mark's wife, Emily. Her social media profiles were public, filled with happy family photos, pictures of them on vacation, at their kids' soccer games. The perfect family. It made my blood boil. This man was living a double life, destroying his own family and mine at the same time. I found her email address and her direct messages were open. The day I chose was their anniversary. I saw Emily post a gushing tribute to her wonderful, loving husband, Mark. That was my cue. I sat at my computer, my heart pounding in my chest. I carefully selected a few of the most incriminating photos, the ones that left no room for doubt. A picture of them kissing in a hotel bed. Another of Sarah wearing a necklace he'd just bought her, with the receipt in the background. I attached the photos to an email. I didn't write a long, angry message. I just wrote one simple line. You should know what your husband does when he's working late. He hit send. Then I did the same thing on her social media. sending the pictures directly to her inbox. I felt a strange mix of relief and dread. There was no going back. Then, I packed Sarah's things. I put all her clothes, her shoes, and all the expensive gifts from Mark into boxers and suitcases. I piled them up by the front door. The last thing I did was print out one of the pictures of her and Mark kissing. I placed it on top of the boxers, right where she would see it the moment she walked in. I didn't have to wait long. About an hour later, my phone started blowing up. It was Sarah. Dozens of missed calls, frantic texts. "What did you do? You've ruined my life. Call me now." I ignored them all. The silence was my answer. I could just imagine the chaos erupting in Mark's perfect little world. His wife seeing those pictures, the lies unraveling. Sarah finally came home. She saw the boxers and the photos. The look on her face was a mixture of shock, fury, and for the first time, fear. She started screaming, calling me every name in the book. She accused me of being insane, of ruining everything. I just stood there, completely calm. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "You ruined this, Sarah. Not me. You made your choice when you decided to sell yourself to your boss. Now you get to live with the consequences. Your things are packed. Get out of my house." She tried to argue, to cry, to apologize. But it was all empty. The trust was gone, incinerated by her lies and betrayal. I pointed to the door, eventually defeated. She called a friend and left. Watching her walk away, I didn't feel triumph. I just felt empty. The revenge didn't magically heal the pain, but it did bring justice. She and Mark built their secret world on a foundation of deceit, and I just held up a mirror to it. They had to face the reality of what they'd done. A few weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that Mark's wife had filed for divorce. The scandal had also leaked at his company, and he was forced to resign. His life was in shambles. As for Sarah, she lost her job and her reputation. I blocked her on everything and never spoke to her again. It took a long time to heal. Betrayal leaves deep scars, but taking control of the situation, exposing the truth instead of letting it eat me alive, was the first step. It wasn't about being cruel. It was about reclaiming my own life and my own dignity. Sometimes, the only way to move forward is to burn the bridges behind you. It was a painful lesson, but one I'll never forget. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, know that you're not alone and you will get through it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.